All right, one and done, or number 5 or 6 and done. This was a good review. Actually, I have a quick question before we get started. Let me know your thoughts on the review format. I actually kind of liked it where I did the last 100 rounds and spoke about the gun as I was shooting. So let me know what you think about that. Now, this was a hybrid, of course, because I forgot the last 100 rounds with the 147 grain. But I thought it was kind of cool. It was nice to shoot and then talk about it after I had shot, finishing up with 1,000 rounds with the last 100, but having gotten the impression of the firearm with the previous 900 and then speaking on it with the last 100. Of course, the 147. I'll think about it, but let me know what you think. If it's something that you could understand I do, or you would want me to do. I kind of like them both. I see the value in both, although I can give a 100% review after 1,000 rounds rather than a review after 900 while shooting 100. So yeah, this is a, what do you call it? A work in progress, right? And I like them both. And I think that I might try both at any given time, but let me know what you think, because it's just part of the viewing process and part of the community process. So yeah, it was fun. I had a good time, great shooting it. And I look forward to doing more with it down the line. So enjoy the video review of the H&K CC9. We'll see you in the next review series. I'll have that out starting tomorrow. And no outro, just gonna leave it at that. I mentioned that at the very end of the review as well. So thank you to all who are subscribe, commenting, and sharing, recommending. And yeah, enjoy. I almost forgot. The camera's a little out of focus. I was doing a manual focus because the automatic uses the battery a lot more. So I'm trying a new manual focus. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. So I'll try to really nail down and get that looking better. I do apologize. It's a little bit out of focus and it's kind of off-putting. And I also added a new camera. That's something that I'm going to incorporate, and I have been incorporating in my other reviews. The other review series is the opposite end of the firearm. So you see me from doing the shoot from one angle, and then I decided to get the other angle since I have an extra camera. Let me know what you think. And yes, I do apologize. Sorry about that. This video is intended for educational and informational purposes only. All firearm handling shown is performed by trained individuals in a controlled environment. Always follow the 4 rules of gun safety. Number 1, treat your firearm as if it's loaded. Number 2, never point a firearm at anything you do not intend to destroy. Number 3, keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Number 4, be sure of your target and what's beyond it. Comply with all local, state, and federal laws regarding firearms. Do not attempt to replicate any action seen in this video without proper training and safety measures. The creators assume no liability for misuse or unsafe practices. Hello, you. Welcome back here to the Pew for this 1,000 round review. And it's still part of this series because, as I mentioned yesterday in the previous video on the supercut, I didn't shoot, and I think in the 1,000 round, I didn't shoot the 147 grain, which I am shooting today. Full metal jacket, of course, from Supervel, as I had intended in the original 1,000 rounds, which I usually do at the very end. So I do apologize. I'm going to make it up today. I'm going to shoot 100 rounds of 147 grain through the review, and I'll do my pros and cons as I'm doing the reloads and otherwise. So bear with me. It may be a little bit longer, but I'm going to try to get through it as quickly as possible. I'm not going to try and, take my time. I'm just going to shoot to kill, and I'm sorry, shoot to incapacitate. So we're going to be using the G-Code Paradigm holster, and we're going to be using the Black Hawk Mag Caddy. So first and foremost, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And we are going to get into this review. I'm going to cover this up, and I'm going to list out the 3 pros and the 3 cons, and then my overall take of the firearm, whether, especially because it's a DC, whether I would carry it or I recommend carry it for shooters shooting it, and whether or not, keep it in your collection or I would recommend staying away from it or anything like that sort of commentary, I suppose. If you've been watching the 10 episodes in the 1,000 round series of the CC9, you know that I like it. I like it a lot, and I definitely have a place for it in my collection, but we'll get to that at the very end. Initial impressions, it is it's a subcompact, it's an EDC, but it fits in the hand very well, and I have a 8-inch wingspan from pinky to thumb, and it fits very nicely. It's a little small, it's a single stack form factor, but double stack magazine. Now, naturally, you can get up to 12 rounds in capacity for the magazines, and I think it comes with a 10 and a 12 or a 10 and a 10. Mine came with 2 10s because, you know, that's all I shoot here on YouTube, but you can get other ones. I got 3 magazines or 10 rounds, so I had to buy an extra one for continuity's sake on the video. But yeah, no, I initial impressions, I felt it, I was like, yeah, this feels like a really nice fitting form factor gun. I like the little cuts in the grip for you to grip onto with your fingers, the undercut for the trigger guard, which I think is standard now with every firearm. There isn't any texture in the front. Picatinny rail, optics, mount, and I forget if they have, I don't think they have plates, I think it's a direct mount. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not too sure. This is not a tritium front sight, but it is luminous when you're, you know, in the sun. I think it does light up just a little bit. Blacked out serrated rear sights. What do they call that? Serrated? I forget. Grip texture, not too much, but we'll get into that later. Overall, when you're holding the gun, when you're gripping it and just feeling the overall weight, it's nice. It's nice and balanced. It's not top heavy. It's a very short, I want to say, well, here, let's measure it right now. 3.5. Oh, sorry, 6-inch slide, but most likely a 3.5 inch barrel. Yep. So trigger is also nice. There's no play up to the wall. Once you hit the wall, minimal squish, minimal forgiveness. Reset. It's a little further out there than I'd like, but it's okay for an EDC. I think that's perfect. I have had no problems with it. I like it. It's got that little safety, Glock style safety in the center. So to me, the trigger, great. Trigger's great. Magazine release, slide stop on ambidextrous on either side. Oh, the mag release also is ambidextrous on either side as well. Takedown lever, very intuitive. Super simple to take apart, just like you would want for any firearm, I suppose. Okay, let's get loaded. I'm going to shoot 100. After I get loaded, I'll tell you my first my first con, and then I'll go to the pros. So I'll shoot, and I'll parse out the pros and the cons with my shoot. And this is not the normal format that I usually do. I usually just shoot, you know, a couple rounds through it. But for this one in particular, because I didn't shoot 147 as I mentioned before, that's what we're doing. So let's speed this up. Okay, so I'll mention that the regular magazine is just got a normal base plate on it. If you buy another magazine, you'll see that it's got a little bit of extension on there. I'll show you what that's like. For my hand, it fits great, perfectly. With the other magazine, the smaller magazine, which I'll shoot with first, it doesn't hold up, but as I mentioned before, I got used to it because instead of, you know, worrying about it being just right here with my pinky, I'm now bracing it from underneath. So it's almost like you're doing the good old days back in the day where your hand is underneath the pistol. So that's just actually an added level of leverage that I find it's not bad. And with the Ruger Max 9, the same thing with the shorter magazine, which again, not a problem. I don't think it's a negative at all. I mean, they're ankle holster guns almost, so you want it to be smooth, you want it to be short, you want it to be small, so that's what you can expect. All right, so my first positive, my first pro is going to be the overall grip. Now when you first get to the pistol, you know whether or not, oh, I like how this feels. I like how this feels. That's already a huge plus in my book. When you look at a pistol, you can see it. You can't really, tell, but then when you grip onto it, you're like, yes, this has got the dimples in the right place. It's got the ridges and the cuts all in the right spot, so it feels very, very good. That's the first pro number one. Okay, let's do a little shoot. I'm going to shoot starting out at 20 yards. Oh, I haven't punched out there. Sorry. Just a normal setup. We're doing 12, 12, and 20 for the orange silhouette, as seen in the camera behind me. Oh, sorry, I just turned off the video. Power button being there is not helpful. All right, here we go. Let me do that again. That draw was terrible. It feels great for 147. I'm all over the place, but I'm just trying to shoot fast, so I'm not looking for accuracy. I wasn't doing it for that. Oops. So that's one thing I'll bring up as a special nod, but not right now. It's definitely an issue though. It's out of battery. So, very, 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 very nice. As you can see, this is at 20 yards. Not the best accuracy, but it's hitting the target, which is, I forgot the measurements. So the grip is great. When I'm shooting it, it doesn't feel, the recoil is very minimal. It's very, very surprising too for a pistol this size. H&K just knows how to distribute their mechanics and weight and science and all that stuff. So it's definitely goes to show that they have a good idea of what they're doing, which leads to that next pro of mine. I'll speak as I'm loading. The next pro of mine obviously is the experience, the shooting experience and the accuracy, because all of that adds up to I trust this gun, and if I'm carrying it, then it's something that I can rely upon to get rounds down range, be accurate, and take care of my life or the life of the other that I'm protecting, or so on and so forth, right? That's for a specific circumstance what this pistol is typically used for. But if you're just going out of the range too, you can expect to hit the target. That's what you want, and it is a great pro to have, especially with an EDC like this. So I'm impressed, just like with the Ruger. Both those pistols are very impressive. This one in particular, because it has a little bit more, it has more features to it. I forget the Ruger Max 9. I don't think it had the Picatinny at the bottom, so it didn't have that option. It did have the optic though, so that's a plus. And the price, so we'll get to that price later, but the features that this pistol has, the shooting experience overall, is a huge pro in my book, and I think that a lot of you will agree who have shot the CC9, and comment below if you have. I know some of you already, mentioned to me about your CC9, you love it. I can attest to that. That is very, very true with this firearm. It's accurate. It's a great, reliable pistol. I've shot 1,000 rounds. A lot of misfeeds and errors with the ammunition, but that had nothing to do with the gun. I had the most errors with this, with the ammo that I went through so far, but I don't at all blame the firearm. I don't think it had anything to do with the firearm, and I know there will be a lot of people who agree with me in that regard. So, pro number 2 is the experience, the shooting, the accuracy, all of it is just adds up. I mean, the grip as well, but my grip is somewhat of a Achilles heel in this sense, and I'll mention it after this little shoot here. I'm going to go to the tree really quick. Oops. Nope. Come over here. There you go. Oh, failure to extract. I don't like that. I'm hitting right at the bottom. Very accurate. Very accurate. I was aiming too low on the humble tree, so I had to put the dot right over the target to hit it. So no big deal. Just had to get my bearings, and also too, I'm both eyes open, so I'm not using my dominant, I'm using both eyes. So okay, so that's the honorable mention, which would be a negative if it was not my fault, but it's totally my fault. If you haven't watched the 10 episodes that I shot, 100 rounds through each, I hold the firearm kind of weird. It looks kind of weird. I want more skin in the game, so I get my middle finger up inside my trigger, which obviously it doesn't obstruct my trigger finger whatsoever. And I get my middle finger to touch onto the firearm, just getting more contact with the weapon and with my body, so I can feel and better connect with it, have more control over it. But that being a problem because the ambidextrous mag slide is right there, so when I'm shooting the gun, it kind of recoils and I hit it out of battery, I guess you'd say. So that for me is a problem with this firearm. I like firearms to have that option for ambidextrous options, but I would rather it not be apparent. Like, you could switch it, right? If it comes, you can swap either side to have that ambidextrous not come with it both on each side. Not a problem. It's a feature that they wanted to put in there. It's not a negative, it's just an honorable mention. For me, as a shooter, I have to kind of wiggle my way around and hold it in a different way. But you saw from a couple of those rounds that the magazine was coming out and I had to put it back in. So not bad. Nothing terrible about that. It's not a problem whatsoever. So the last pro, as I load these rounds up, the last pro for me is that, just like the overall experience shooting, the accuracy, the overall package that it came with. I mean, it only came with 2 magazines, and I'm not really too fond of that, but it is what it is. So all the features that come with it, the shooting experience, the grip, the form factor, the slim form factor, the slim nature of the firearm, the smooth nature of the pistol that fits very well against your body. I haven't carried it, but I can say that given the overall feel of it, I know it would definitely go well underneath a jacket, a shirt, ankle, whatever. So the third pro is just everything. I can't come up with one particular. The trigger is amazing. Accuracy is great. Like I said, the grip is very well-rounded and functional. So everything, it fits well. All these little things come together. There's not one thing in particular that stands out necessarily. To me, it's just the whole thing together for what it is and the purpose that it serves is great. I highly recommend this firearm, especially if you're in the market for an EDC or backup firearm. So that's not good. I don't like when it does that. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and hit at 12 yards, a silhouette. Oops, that was terrible. Make up for that. Strange. Yeah, you can see the magazine coming out. I'm gonna hold it differently. I'll bring my middle finger over my middle finger and try it that way. Yes. All right, so let's go through 2 cons before I shoot the last 10 rounds. First con for me on the pistol is grip texture. It is smooth and it is a plus in the overall package because it is, you know, an EDC, you want it to be sort of flush against your body, but I could forgive the nature on the side here and on the slide and the rest of the firearm, but the grip here on the actual where your palm swell, everything goes, that's not that aggressive. And I know some people don't like an aggressive natured EDC with the grip, you know, kind of rubbing against you, but I personally have an undershirt that I wear. So if I'm carrying, then it's not going to rub against me anyway. I want to have more grip. Not that it's a problem because I still shoot very well with it, but it is not good. I want more grip texture here, and I want more here. I mean, it's a nitpick for sure with that, but this grip texture is just not, to me, it isn't aggressive enough. It needs to be at least 2 steps above, so it just feels a little bit more secure in the hand. It has some texture out here with the gas pedal areas and your trigger finger rest, but doesn't have it out on the trigger guard. Again, that's a nitpick for me, these 2 sides, but it just needs to be more, it needs to have more texture. So that to me is a negative, a con for me. Another con is the spring. You know, the shooting experience overall is great, but the spring is very tight. Even after 1,000 rounds, after breaking it in, it hasn't loosened up, and it's very tough. It's very, very tough. And I know you can get an aftermarket spring right after you purchase it, but I wish from the factory it was a little bit more forgiving. It reminds me of the Shadow Systems CR920 XP. These 2 springs are, I don't like them. They're just too tight, way too tight. All right, let's shoot this last 10 rounds. We'll just go around the world a little bit. Or not. Okay. Just having trouble deciding what she wants to do. Okay. Awesome. Very, very accurate. I really, really enjoy it. Spring, texture aside, Last thing is price. The price MSRP is $649 or $650, which then you tack on the taxes. You're looking at to be about $700, right? I got this for $552, something like that, which all the taxes, I got off Gunbroker, all the taxes, everything included, came out to be $652. So I got it for MSRP flat, right? But that's a little pricey for our EDC, and it's something that is this size. Glock 19s you can get for $600, which is, you know, a bigger feature set. It carries more rounds. It is a little bit bigger, so you're kind of sacrificing that. But then you get into your actual EDCs, and the Springfield Armory Hellcat. That one is another slimline form factor. It carries up to 17 rounds, or 18 plus 1, and I got that thing for $650. Or no, well, I got that thing for $800 because I got the gear up pack and everything. But MSRP for that is also $650 or $600 or something like that. So when you're looking at the options, the price for this, it's kind of a negative. It's definitely something that you want to consider if you're in that market. But if your preference is you're looking for something that's a little bit smaller form factor, you don't care about the number of rounds you can carry, a lot more magazines, then it's great. But for me, looking at the price, you know, if you're on a budget or something like that, then it won't be your first option. It won't be your first go around, because obviously that's $650 to $700 for a 10-round pistol. It's like, ooh, kind of like the Glock 43X, which I have done. I'll be getting to that review later on. You can't justify that. It's just like, dang, those two, or these types of firearms, even though it has everything. It's got the Picatinny, it's got your optics, it has ambidextrous slide and mag release. It all works so well. The trigger is great, as you know, along with the accuracy. But again, you can do that with the RXM. The RXM is going to cost you a fraction of that, not a fraction, but it's going to be at least $200 to maybe even $250 or $300 less than this, and that carries proprietary Glock mags, and it'll shoot for days and be reliable. Not to say that this isn't reliable. I know the website touts to be, you know, reliable in all these different conditions, but that's something that I think about when I'm doing my, you know, pros and cons. So those are the three cons, those are the three pros. The overall take I have, I love it. I love it. I think it's wonderful. I think it's an awesome firearm. H&K did an amazing job. This has only been my second H&K that I've shot in my life. My first weapon was an H&K. My first firearm was an H&K, and it is amazing. I'll be reviewing that too. But this has been another great experience. I think they know what they're doing, and that's important for somebody who enjoys the hobby, someone who's a shooter, to have that in a company. Regardless of the company, you know, you gotta shoot and test it to know whether or not it's going to work. But for a first-time shooter, it's definitely just under the first shots with a revolver, Glock 19 RXM. Then you can shoot this. I wouldn't say you're going to be hurting if you shoot this first, but to get the fundamentals down and not to worry about anything with your grip or whatever. Not that this would be a problem. It's definitely a smaller form for my hands, so it would fit somebody who's a smaller frame, or for a woman, then that would be a great gun to step down or step up to from your Ruger, from your revolver, RXM, and the Glock 19, or even a full size. This one, you just give it a second and then have them test it out, because the recoil is great, the accuracy is awesome. It's just a wonderful gun. So just outside of a first shooter's experience, and for sure carry, I recommend it. I know a lot of you out there carry this, and kudos to you. Absolutely agree. Yeah, that's what I have to say about it. I think it was wonderful. I'll keep shooting it. I'll have other rounds go through it. That failure to extract was odd. I'm not going to ding it. You know, there's been so many little things with this. Maybe it's just a little finicky with reloads, and the reloads were the ones, and the factories had the light primer strikes, but that was probably from the factory. That's not this fault, the pistol's fault. So let me know what you think. Thank you so much for being here. Stay tuned for the next series. I'm going to be shooting the blankety blank 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 blank, and don't use those blankety blanks as the words. But yeah, stay tuned for that, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I'm having a great time. This is a great pistol. I really enjoyed it, and I want to hear from everybody on the comments in the community what they think. So no outro today because that was it. And thank you so much if you stayed to the end. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for staying. I hit 100 subscribers yesterday, and I'm at 101. So I'm smiling huge underneath my cowl. So thank you again so much. I really appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one. And make sure you aim for center mass, pick up your brass, wash your ass, and say hi to your mom for me.